probably the kids. Kids who lived in the cheap stucco homes behind the light blue pastel-colored studio. Kids who stole tires off cars in the village, who stole sea grapes, mangoes, oranges, and canips to sell and buy drugs with their profits. He shoved the vacuum down a long hallway lined with gold records. Some of them he'd worked on. Robert Palmer, George Thorogood, Rick Ramone, Kid Rock, Jimmy Buffett. He didn't bother to look. It was a long time ago, and the plaques just made him sad. The flash outside the lobby window startled him as he came to the end of the hall. Maybe a car's headlights from the road, but more like a flare, with a fiery brilliance. Then he saw it again for just an instant, a reflection from behind him. At the same time, he heard a deep, thundering rumble at the rear of the building. He spun around, his chest tight, and he gasped, his breathing raspy. An orange ball of fire had filled the hallway he had just stepped out of, and it raced toward him, the oppressive heat sucking oxygen from the air. A mind-numbing explosion drowned out everything around him as he saw a young black man running full speed just ahead of the flame. The last thing he remembered was the sharp, intense pain as the window glass shattered and shards hurled from their frames, burying themselves in his body like dozens of knives as the flames consumed his clothes. Chapter 2. A rusty 60s Cadillac sat up on blocks of the house next door, its wheels bare of tires. Elvis owned that car. Jonah Britt smiled, his eyes lingering on the eyesore. Somehow I find that hard to believe. Mick Sever sipped his Kalik beer, sitting on a wicker chair on the crushed stone patio outside the studio. Lady over there who owns it keeps telling me that. Wants to sell it for $10,000. Of course, she can't produce the papers. The son who lives with her is a burnout. But he's got stories about that car. Britt rolled his eyes. He reached down by his chair and scratched the ears of a small gray cat. The feline rippled with delight, then walked away. Elvis always had General Motors put a small plastic plaque on the dash with the Cadillac logo and his name. I bought one of those plaques for a friend a couple of years ago. The car belonged to his girlfriend, Linda Thompson, after Elvis died. Britt nodded. I heard he owned at least 20 caddies and gave away a bunch more. He flipped his cigarette ash into the colorful landscaping with its frangipani and croton trees and squeezed a lime into his mug, the golden beer shimmering in the bright sunlight. So, you like the new place? Sever nodded his head. It's great. Of course, it lacks the charm of the old building. There seemed to be a sadness in the deep green eyes. Britt rubbed a spot on his receding hairline. Sever remembered when hair hung down in his eyes, several years ago. You know, Mick, the old building had its time and place. This is so much more efficient. The gold records? Lost most of them. Just melted down to blobs. We've got a company trying to replicate some of them, and we asked some of the record companies to replace the rest, but... He let the words drift off. Both men were silent for a moment. There was a lot of history here. Sever looked back from the wicker chair and table, surveying the new, state-of-the-art studio. Won't be the same. Nothing is, Mick. Christ, the kids today, they can do everything we do here in their bedrooms at home. I mean, the software gets more sophisticated every day. It's hard for us to keep up. Next door, maybe 40 feet away, a dark-skinned, shirtless man in his early 20s stepped out onto a small concrete patio, looked around with a glazed expression, then spotted Sever and Britt, both watching him. He stared at them for a good 30 seconds, with that blank look on his face. Britt finally lifted his arm and waved at the man. Bernard, the lady's kid. He's got a twin brother who now lives with his father. He waved back, recognition dawning on his face, then walked toward the two men. Did you show your friend the Cadillac, Mr. Britt? He can sit inside if he wants to. It's for sale, you know. Britt smiled. I did, Bernard. Told him who owned it and how much you want. He motioned to Sever, putting the reporter on the spot. Sever gave him a look.